Okay, lovely question. I like this one. So this is question 1 from the picture that you sent. Now we have the perimeter of a rectangle, right? And that is the first part of the information from the paragraph they gave. This is problem solving with algebraic equations basically and expressions. So, what are we given? I basically highlighted everything that is given and what we need to find. So, we are given the perimeter of a rectangle. Now, what do we know about perimeter? The perimeter, which is going to be sum of all sides. So the perimeter is the sum of all sides. So what does that mean? It just means it's this side plus this side plus this side plus this side. That is what perimeter means. Area, remember you learned about perimeter and area. Area is just multiplying one side and another side, and make sure that they basically have two opposite equal sides, basically. Two pairs of opposite sides. Anyway, but that's area. We're doing perimeter right now. Sorry, two pairs of equal. Sorry. Anyway, so perimeter is going to be the sum of all the sides. And now, that's also one good thing that we are pointing out. Now, with the length of the room, which this is the extra part, the length of the room is 5 meters longer. Sorry, I had to add that one in. 5 meters longer than twice the breadth. Now remember, they said that the length, and let's say, obviously, when we are working with the length, we're looking for the longest one. But remember, this is a rectangle. It has two sides. So let's assume that this side is going to be the length, and this side is going to be the breadth. So, now, what do they mean by 5 meters longer than twice the breadth? Now, this is the part where it gets other students. So, they give us a lot of information on the length of the rectangle, but not the breadth. So, what we can do is, because they're telling us that it's 5 meters longer than twice the breadth, we can assume that the breadth will be x. Now, if you're asking why we are doing that, it's because they don't give us much information with the breadth. So we will assume that breadth is just going to be x, and the only information they give us for the length is that it's 5 meters longer, and it's also twice the size, longer than twice the size, or the breadth. So that's why we assume it's x, because we don't have much information. Now, what do they mean 5 meters longer? What they mean by 5 meters longer, it's going to just be plus 5. So basically, remember what they said? 5 meters longer than twice the breadth. And remember, breadth is x. And what does it mean by twice? If I tell you something repeats itself twice, it's going to be, let's say, 6 repeats itself twice. What is that going to be? 6 times 2. That's going to be 12. Now, if x repeats itself twice, let's say it's going to be x times 2, right? X, did I say 6 times 6? I meant 6 times 2. Did I say 6 times 2? Yeah, so if x repeats itself twice, that means it's going to be x times 2. And we know that x times 2 is going to be equal to 2x. Now, we can write that down on our length, 2x. Okay, now remember, we only got twice the breadth. Now, we want to know the length of the room, remember? And we know that it's also 5 meters longer. So what does that mean? It's not minus 5, because that means 5 meters shorter. So if it means 5 meters longer, means it's going to add 5 meters. But we're obviously not going to add meters, because we're just working with the expressions right now. Expressions meaning it has x in it. And now, what do we know about a rectangle? Opposite sides are equal. Now, what is that supposed to mean? It means that this side is equal to this side. And it also means that this side is now equal to this side. That's what opposite sides are equal. That's the one I tried to get in the beginning, but for some reason I couldn't get it. Now, remember what I said? They are equal. So if this side is and this side are the same, don't you agree with me that this side will also be x? Because they're the same length, and x actually indicates the length as well, not the length, but like the size basically of the side. which is the breadth in this case. Now the length, we know that these two sides are the same, so I can also write 2x plus 5. If you lost, please either message me or go back, just rewind the video to wherever you were lost. Now we have all the sides, and remember, they say the perimeter of the rectangle is going to be 40 meters. So we must now know that if you add everything up, all the sides up, you will get an answer of 40 meters. And I'll show you how to do that. But remember, what is the length? This is the question. What is the length of the room as well as the breadth? You need to find out what the breadth and the length of the room is. So let's do this, right? Another piece of information we have is the perimeter of a rectangle. And we know that it's all these sides equal to the perimeter. Remember, perimeter is equal to the sum of all the sides. So we can substitute, remember, the perimeter of a rectangle. They give it to us already. The perimeter, let's write it down. We have P. I'm going to write perimeter as P of rectangle. Just remember, it's not that advanced. I'm just writing P for perimeter, and I'm indicating what shape we are working with. I do recommend, if you're working with triangle and you want to find the perimeter, say P triangle. So this is a good practice video, actually. I love this question. Now, we know that it's going to be the sum of all sides. Now, what is that supposed to mean? What is the perimeter of the rectangle? It's 40 meters. So we have 40 meters over here. We can just replace the perimeter of a rectangle with 40 meters because they tell us it's 40 meters. The sum of all the sides. Remember, let me just say S over here. We now need to say that it's going to be this side plus this side plus this side plus this side. So how are we going to write that? Let's write down both the length so long. We can write down 2x plus 5 plus. And look here, what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to write brackets around it to indicate that it's the different sides. You don't have to do this. Actually, I do recommend doing it just in case you have like a negative here, but I don't think they'll ever make you do that in grade 8. So 2x plus 5 is one side. What's another side? We can write 2x plus 5 again. Let's do that, because remember, we have two sides which are also the same. So I'm going to also write this in brackets if I can actually keep it stable, 2x plus 5. Plus, and remember, we have two more sides that we want to add up. So we have x and also x over here. That's the sides that we still need to add. So x plus x. You know, I'm actually having a difficult time trying to keep this paper stable, but I hope you're understanding. If you're not understanding, please just message me immediately, and then I'll try and explain the specific part. Anyway, now we have 40 meters is equal to 2x plus 5 plus 2x plus 5, which is basically this side plus this side, plus x, which is this side plus this side. Now we just add them all together. Now we can write them now without the brackets. This is just a preference, but I'll show you. So 2x plus 5 plus 2x plus 5 plus x is equal to 40 meters, obviously, because we still have that on that side. Now, let's add all the like terms. Now, what like terms are, in case you don't know, like terms are the terms that basically have the same variables. So let's say we have 2x squared. And we know that a like term is going to be with any number, but it can be any number. Let's say we have 69, but it has to, in order for it to be a like term, it has to also be x squared. So 69x squared, it is also a like term. If we write, let's say 3x, because it's not x squared and just x, they are not like terms. They can't be added together. But if you have, let's say, 2x, these are like terms because they both have just x. Do you understand? Now, let's do that with this one. Let's look for everything that involves x, right? We have 2x, we have 2x, and we have x, and we also have x. 2x plus 2x is going to be equal to 4x, plus, remember, we also write this as 1x, because there's just like an invisible 1 in here by the x. That's what you should have learned from your teacher. If you don't, then cool. If you don't understand, I'll just explain it. But just know that anything multiplied by 1 stays the same. That's why we don't have to write 1 in over here. But anyway, we have 2 plus 2, which is 4, plus 1, which is 5, plus 1, which is 6. So we can write this as 6x. You see why I said add the like terms? Because they'll still have the same variable. It's just the numbers that change. Now that we've worked with the x's already, let's work with the constants. The constants meaning it doesn't have x, or it doesn't have any variable with it. So we have 5 plus 5, which is 10, and that's all the constants in here. So that's going to be 6x plus 10 is equal to 40 meters. Now, we need to solve for x, right? In order to solve for x in this case, and I know now it's going to be a hectic one here, and this is where I need to teach, and this is where my camera needs to focus. Okay, now, we need to get x on its own. I know this is a very long video, but please, just bear with me. We need to get x on its own. And in order to get x on its own, let me just stop writing the m because it's actually going to confuse you. We need to get x on its own. And we know that the closest thing we can do to get x on its own is to take this plus 10 over. Now note, if you didn't know about the solving for x methods, if we have, focus please, I swear this camera's not being nice. If we have, let's say x plus 2 is equal to 3, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, what we need to do, we want to get x on its own so we can know what the value of x is. So we take this entire plus 2 over on this side, and we will just easily flip the sign. Where it used to be positive 2 or plus 2, it will now become minus 2. Now how do we write this? Because we took this plus 2 over and it became minus 2, we can just write this as 3 minus 2 on this side, because remember we took it over. And now because we took this plus 2 over, now x is on its own. And now we can just solve. X is just equal to 3 minus 2, which is 1. Now let's do this. 6x plus 10, right? We know that the easiest thing we can do is take the plus 10 over on the other side. And what is the opposite of plus 10? We know that it's going to be minus 10. Anyway, I need to continue. Remember, now, we have 6x plus 10. We take the plus 10 over, it will become a minus 10. So, remember, because we took the 10 over, we have 6x on its own now. And this thing doesn't want to focus. But because I took the plus 10 over, it will actually be minus 10, which we'll write as 40 minus 10. Am I clear? I hope I am. And we know that 40 minus 10 is just equal to 30. Now, what do we do with the 6x? Now, how we need to get x on its own is we know that 6x is also written as 6 times x. Am I right? 6 times x is equal to 6x. And because we have multiplication, if we're taking something over, now let me do another example here. We have 2x is equal to 4, for example, right? We have 2x plus 4. Please focus. Here, if we have 2x, we know that this can be written as 2 times x. And we know that if we multiply on one side and we want to take this entire times 2 over, right, we can now take it over this side, which will now be from times 2 to divided by 2. And how do we write this down? Now, because we took the 2 over, it'll become x on its own, but we'll write this as 4 divided by 2, which is equal to 2. That is how we take things over when a number is in front of x. Now let's go back here. Because we have 6x, we can basically write this as 6 times x. And now we can take this 6 over, this times 6 over, and now it will become divided by 6. Now, we can also just write this. Now that we got x on its own, because we took the 6 over, it'll become 30 divided by 6. 30 divided by 6 is just equal to 5. I know this because I just know it. So x is equal to 5. Let me write this like this. So therefore, x will be equal to 5. Now, I know this is still a long video. We're still busy. The reason why it's long is because I'm trying to explain as much as possible. Let's finish this off. What is the length of the room as well as the breadth? Now we know that the breadth is x and the length is 2x plus 5. Now we already know that x from our answer is equal to 5. Therefore, the breadth of room is equal to 5 meters. Remember, this is also 5 meters because x is the side, and remember the side is also measured in meters, like we already know the perimeter of the rectangle is in meters. So the breadth of the room is equal to 5 meters. Now how do we find the length of the room? Clearly we just have to use one of these, which is 2x plus 5. Let's do this. The length of room is going to be equal to, sorry, this looks very untidy. I'm still trying to keep the page steady. The length of the room is equal to 2, we know that it's going to be 2x plus 5. Now, all we need to do, we know that x is equal to 5 meters, so we can basically just replace this x with 5. But remember, when we're doing that, we have to put 5 in brackets. Now, let me write this down because brackets are apparently difficult to draw when you are not holding anything. So yeah, we can clearly see that we replaced x with 5 because we already know x is equal to 5. Now we just need to write it like this. 2 times 5 is equal to 10. 10 plus 5 over here is going to be equal to 15. So therefore, the length of the room is equal to 15 meters. So that's how you answer this question. If you have any questions, please do ask, and I'll just go over it again. If you need help with one of the solving for X problems, I will definitely assist you on that one.